Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat, Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. The name of this segment is Genesis chapter 15, Acts chapter 7 goes together. Absolutely, positively go together. Genesis chapter 15, verse number 13, and the entire chapter of Acts chapter 7. At this time, I'd like to read to you Acts chapter 7 and then end this segment. This is the 400-year um, deliverance for God's people that are in captivity here in America. Okay, let's begin reading. Then said the high priest, "Are these things so?" And he said, "Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Charan, and said unto him, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I will show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Charan, and from thence, when his father had died, he moved him into his land wherein ye now dwell. And he gave them none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on, yet the promise that he would give it to them for possession, and to his seed after him, when he was yet, when as yet he had no child. And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. And that 400 years will be 2019. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God, and after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. And he gave them the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begot Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs, moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt. But God was with him, and delivered him out of all their afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt, and all his house. Now there came a dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and great affliction, and our fathers found no substance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first, and at the second time Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known to Pharaoh. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred 15 souls. So Joseph went down into Egypt, and died he and our fathers, and were carried over into Sychem, and laid in a sepulchre that Abraham bought for the sum of money of the sons of Elmore, the father of Sychem. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose which knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtlety with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children, to the end they might not live. In which the time Moses was born, and was exceedingly fair, and nourished up in the father's house 3 months. And he was cast out. Pharaoh's daughter took him, and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and and was mighty in the words and deeds. And when he was full of 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer, he defended him, and avenged him that that was oppressed, and smote the Egyptian. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but understood not. And the next day he showed himself unto them, as they strove, and would have set them at once again, saying, Sirs, ye are brethren, why do ye wrong one another? But he that did his neighbors wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made thee a ruler and judge over us? Wilt thou kill me, as thou killed the Egyptian yesterday? Then fled Moses at this saying, and was a stranger in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons. And when 40 years were expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness at Mount Mount Sinai, an angel of the Lord in a flame of fire in a bush. When Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight, and as he drew near to behold it, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, I am the God of thy fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the God of Jacob. Then Moses trembled, and durst not behold. Then said the Lord unto him, Put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. I have seen, I have seen the affliction of my people, which is in Egypt, and I have heard groaning, and I am come down to deliver them. And now come I will send thee into Egypt. This is Moses, whom they refused, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge? The same did God send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel which appeared unto him in the bush. He brought them out of affliction, that he had shown wonders and signs in the land of Egypt, and in the Red Sea, and in the wilderness 40 years. This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, A prophet shall the Lord your God rise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall you hear. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the living oracles to give unto us, to whom our fathers would not obey, but thrust him from them, and in their hearts turned back into Egypt, saying unto Aaron, make unto us gods to go before us. For as of this Moses, which brought us out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And they made a calf in those days, and offered sacrifices unto the idols, and rejoiced in the works of their hands. Then God turned and gave them up to worship the host of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets, O ye house of Israel, have ye offered to me slain beasts and sacrifices by the space of 40 years in the wilderness? Yea, you took up the tabernacle of Molech, and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I carried you away into Babylon. Our fathers had tabernacles and witnessed in the wilderness, and he had appointed speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen, which also your fathers that came after brought in, which Christ into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God gave out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David, who found favor before God and desired to find a tabernacle for the God of Jacob. But Solomon built him an house. Howbeit is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will you build unto me, says the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest? Has not my hand made all these things? Ye stiff neck and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Holy Ghost, as your fathers did, so do you. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted, and they have slain them, and shewed them? Therefore, of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have now betrayers and murderers, who have received the law of the disposition of angels, and have not kept it. When they have heard these things, they was cut to their heart, and they gushed upon them with their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfast into heaven, and saw God, the glory of God, and Christ standing on the right hand of God, and said, Behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city, and stoned him. And the witness laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God, saying, Lord Christ, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. Okay, this ends the segment of Genesis chapter 15. Acts chapter 7 goes together. Okay, Genesis chapter 15 concerning the 400 years of our captivity here in America. The difference between the 450 years in the Middle East and being put on slave ships here in America is 400 years. You need both of these chapter Acts to confirm in the New Testament, the Old Testament. You confirming the New Testament with the Old Testament. Old Testament is Genesis chapter 15. The New Testament is Acts chapter 7. Where we are the children of the ancestors who were mistreated, evilly treated, mistreated, and according to the dates of the time of life. Now they have people come here in the year 1492, and then the number 1610 is the year that America has for us coming here. So 400 years is next year. So God comes back on the 400 year. That's a few months away, and it's gonna be trouble. Okay, thank you for listening. This ends the segment of Acts chapter 7 and Genesis chapter 15, verse 13, concerning the differences between the 450 years and the 400 years, the 400-year deliverance of God's people. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.